Welcome to the actual final end of the year show. Aha. Now, some of you may have been here for our first attempt at going live. Don't worry. That was a private exclusive thing. It was also the period at which I was trying to figure out why the game Hades wouldn't open. Typically, when you download a game, get ready to play it, you click at the game and then it plays. But we ran into a little bit of a snag, a little snatch there, where I just couldn't get the game going. Did some tech solving and we did it. We did it. We're great. We're feeling good. So before we go into Hades, which we're going to be going to in a little bit, I want to say this is the last stream of the year. The next stream will be on January 6th. That is a Monday, which gives your pal Day 9 2 weeks off. Total of 16 days. Yay! Over which I'm going to really be resting because I have not had a good, restful, nice time this year. So, before we do any of that, this is generally the time we do the end of year AMA. If you have any burning questions, any thoughts, any wishes that you've been wanting to lord in front of your friend Sean, now's the time. And one such one was from RXLR during the period of time where I was just trying to get the damn stream to work. RXLR was asking about how, if I have any advice about the will to push forward and to have the discipline to do something when I really don't want to. Because RXLR was talking about having joined a writing community where he was submitting, he or she, I guess, I don't know. What? Pick your favorite pronoun. I will address you however the hell you want. By God, it's the end of the year, man. RXLR had been writing creations, submitting them to this community, was getting some traction, and then just sort of petered out on writing. And was wondering about, and to use RXLR's word, it wasn't for lack of creativity. It was lack of willpower or something. So I want to talk a little bit about trying to push forward and just get some shit done. Especially in the creative space, because it is a little weird to think that I've actually worked in entertainment for 10 years now, officially. I have been a paid member of the entertainment community for 10 years, and it's really weird working in entertainment compared to some other job, where in those other jobs, you're often told what to do in a relatively confined box. And I was using the example of like an assembly line worker, where you're just told, like, plug this into this and inspect that. Plug this into this and inspect that, and just do that. Rote, redundant all the time. In the creative space, you are often doing something brand new each day, and you have to be the one to figure out what it is. You have to create it, hence the term creative. And so there's a couple of observations that I have made about myself over the years. The first one that I'll talk to is the idea of just sticking to a schedule and trying to output within the schedule, and making the accomplishment of sticking to the schedule the big goal, as opposed to the accomplishment of the output. So I think anyone that gets interested in the creative space in any way, whether it be writing, streaming a piece of art, music, there's this idea of, I want to make a good piece of music. I want to make a good piece of art. And the question is, how do I get to there? But if you're doing something full time, actually, if you're just doing anything, you're going to be good sometimes, and you're going to be utter dog shit other times, and that's pretty normal, right? So if we, hey, come here, window, come here, let's just, bam, Day 9's MS Paint thoughts at the end of the year. So if here's your skill on this y-axis, and here is, of course, time going out to the right. Obviously, the more you spend working, you want to do something like this. But in my experience, you often have some of this action going on with your output. I should say, with the quality of your output. So in many regards, if someone's curious about, like, how do I get the willpower to continue to output, like just keep doing streams, stuff like that. I mean, one of the simple answers is I just do shows sometimes, and I accept that it sucks. And it's kind of weird when you're sitting down writing, and you're actually trying to type things out, and you're like, this whole paragraph doesn't feel good. How do I keep working on this paragraph until the quality is sufficient. Okay, that is a useful muscle to have, but in my experience, sometimes a way more important muscle is, all right, man, let's just write a shitty paragraph and move on. We can fix it later when it's clicking. In other words, movement is often the thing that I am looking for, more so than successful output. So there's really two ideas in there. One is the focus on just moving along and continuing to output in the time. And the other one is the scheduling. I mean, I have been on an extremely rigid schedule for 10 years. Just straight up. I've absolutely gone all in on this idea of like, okay, no, 3 days a week, my shows start at 1, and that's just when they start. They start at 1, period. And as you know, I will generally go live a few minutes before 1 and then begin playing the game or doing whatever a few minutes after 1 to let the viewership build up and all that shit. And I mean, like, on the topic of scheduling, I saw this really great explanation on Twitter. Twitter, of all places. I found something of value on Twitter. Isn't that incredible? Where I believe it was actually Toph, the Smash commentator, was talking about you have willpower units that you can run out of over the course of the day. So let's say you have 10 total willpower at the end of the day, and if you need to push through and finish a big assignment, you might spend 5 of those willpower points. And then you need to clean your room, so you spend 2 of those willpower points. My God, you're almost out of willpower at this point. And if you're maxed out, if you hit 10, you can't do anything else significant or substantial anymore. And the idea of scheduling connects to this thread about the idea of habits, where if I say to myself, I want to start going to the gym every day. Well, when I first start doing that, I don't have any habit around it. I don't have any comfort doing it. I don't have any automated processes in my brain that can help me out. I just have to will myself to go. So showing up to the gym might cost 5 units of willpower for the first week every single day just to go to the gym. And then by the next week, I'm kind of getting in the habit, and then it starts taking like 3 willpower units. And then, after a month, it's just taking 1 willpower unit. I just get up and I go there every single day. And it in many ways feels easy as a result. And this willpower units thing was the idea, or this willpower units thing was used to talk about New Year's resolutions where people are like, I'm going to start going to the gym, cooking all my own food, pick up a new hobby, and learn a new language. Each of those would be very, very hard to do just from scratch. And if you're trying to will yourself to do those things, after a week, you're spending like 15 or 20 willpower units a day. You completely frazzle out and you're dead. Dead maybe is the wrong word. You're burnt out. You're tired. You can't do stuff anymore. Whereas if you picked one of those things, got it into a habit, and now you have your working out every day that just takes 1 willpower. And then you say to yourself, okay, now I want to start learning a language. It's going to take 5 willpower units. I love that my brain is just like, tell them they died. Fuck my brain. Anyways. Yeah, once you've habitized going to the gym, maybe you start learning a language. You focus on that for a few weeks until it's now a habit. And then you're in good shape. I think that in the creative space, it is such bullshit. I hear a lot of, college or graduate students who are just like, I'm just not feeling inspired. I'm waiting for the inspiration to happen. There's this idea that the circumstances need to be right in order for you to output the good stuff. Or if you output and it isn't good, then something's wrong. If you output at all, good. Great. If you are able to have any evaluation of what you output, good. Great. You don't have to do anything with the output. There's the Ira Glass theory of don't be someone who is trying to make every output good all the time. Just try to output lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots. And then that way you can say, oh, this one is good. Oh, okay, this one is good. Okay, this one is good. If I draw 100 paintings and only 3 are good, well, shit, I have a portfolio of 3 incredible paintings. That's fantastic. And by just having the habit of doing the creative work, having the habit of outputting, it is acceptable to look and have a negative opinion of the thing that you output. But for God's sake, don't stop. Just keep writing. I was even reading an interview about Jim Butcher, who said that the days that he feels really sluggish and slow and like he's doing a bad job, he goes back and reads that, and the quality is pretty much the same as when he's feeling good and feeling on. Your emotions are often totally bullshit. You know, I remember I had a friend who nearly died, actually. I took her to the hospital. And there's something the doctor said, just sort of offhanded, that just struck me, which is that the pain is a signal that something's wrong. Once we've determined what's wrong, the pain is no longer useful. It's not useful information. So that's why we just dope her up with morphine and she'll speak hilariously now. I think that's interesting, where, like, if I am doing some work and I don't want to be doing it, and I'm just like, oh, and I'm feeling frustrated, it's useful for me to say, oh, I see my frustration is telling me that it would be fun to go play Dota right now. I got it. That's not useful information to me anymore. All right, back to work. I acknowledge it, but it's, doesn't have to direct me. I can feel like shit when I'm doing a show. It still turns out okay. Actually, it's kind of funny. I think I was talking about this earlier last week, that the Mythic Championship 7 that I hosted about 2 weeks ago, some of my better hosting I've ever done. When I was on camera, I felt really good about everything I said and did. I was like, go Sean. And yet that's the worst I've felt at an event in a long time. And I think part of that is due to just 2019 being a heinously stressful year, and I just haven't had enough time off, and I was just like detonating with agony. But I think that it's an incredible example for me personally of, even if I really feel horrible and my heart's fucking racing and I feel like I can't breathe and I have so much anxiety and stress and I want to vomit, I still do fine. It's not actually useful information relative to the show. It is useful information for my body going, Sean, rest. That's the useful information about it. So if I had to circle back to the initial question about how does one will their way through something, first, I would try to set aside regular time to do that creative work. Super regular, and make sure that there's nothing else you're really trying to make yourself do. If you're trying to go to the gym and eat healthy and all that other stuff, make a passing effort at it, but don't force it, right? Because you really want to make sure you habitize your schedule. When you're in that work, try to output. Be comfortable producing garbage and moving on. Your goal should be movement and creation, not making stuff good. After you've created lots, the next step is to have the good enough taste to pick out the good stuff and the good enough taste to want to edit and change the bad stuff. That's after you have created, but for God's sake, create. The third one is, when you're having those negative emotions, acknowledge what information those emotions are trying to give you, and also acknowledge when it's useful or not. For instance, if you're a writer and you write 2 pages and it makes you feel ashamed because it's not good, where's that shame coming from? You're alone in a room writing. No one's going to see it. No one's going to read it right now. You haven't shown it to someone and been judged for it. Why do you feel this shame? What's going on with that? For some people, they feel shame because maybe when they were young, they felt ashamed and it gave them the motivation to work harder to overcome those shameful moments. Okay, I can see why that was maybe useful, but it's not useful as an adult. I don't need to beat up myself in order to give myself the energy to push forward. I just need to push forward, right? Really start to understand your emotions and be willing to think of your creative work as something that is not you. If you write 3 pages and the 3 pages are not good, don't go, I made 3 shitty pages. Go, holy shit, these 3 pages suck, man. Like, how do you think I am so okay with losing all the fucking time in every fucking game I stream on this channel? Where do you think that comes from? It's not that I'm blithely non-competitive. Like, la la la, all games are random. I was fucking a world-class Brood War player. I almost didn't complete college to go to Korea to try to, like, do StarCraft full-time. Like, I took this shit seriously. And you have to understand that each game is not a representation of you. Each game or work or thing is an external thing that you can use to learn from. You can make fun of it. You're allowed to make bad jokes and then go, ha ha, that joke fell flat. You're allowed to completely shit the bed on your writing that day. But by God, if you wrote for 3 hours and wrote, 2,000 words and it was pretty much garbage, great. Great. At the end of the month, you're going to have like tens of thousands of words written. And you're going to be able to start picking the good shit. And at the end of the month, hell, you might have 20,000 good candidate stuff that you can work with. So those are some things that I think. There's another one that really struck me. This is a lecture I saw a number of years ago where someone was talking about how is it that people do their passions as their professions. Like I am passionate about games and I'm passionate about fucking my cat, all sorts of things. Passionate about my cats. Hey, sweetie. The cats don't care. Let's talk about work stuff. I just heard my cat. I'm just like, hello. I'm willing to completely derail myself because I love you and I need to let you know 1,000 times a day. I'm obviously really passionate about games, passionate about competition, passionate about learning, these kinds of things. And it's easy to go, God, well, Sean got really lucky. He just did those. He really loved him. He started to make content about him. That became his career. And this lecture talked about, people who are like NBA players or who are journalists who write books about very niche topics that they care about. And the point that this lecture tried to make is that people get the order wrong when they evaluate this. They look at someone and they go, they must have been passionate about that thing. And then they pursued that passion until it became their profession. As it turns out, there's a lot of commonalities between these types of people that show that really the passion came later. It was about pushing through and doing the work first, and then pushing and doing more work, and then pushing and doing more work, and that loop kept going until they were so good and they had such an expertise that they became deeply passionate about this thing that they had developed a skill set for. And a lot of the way that this happens, this researcher pointed out, is positive social reinforcement loops. So let's say I haven't played basketball and I go to play for the first time and I make a couple crazy shots and everyone goes, whoa, Sean, you're so sick. Holy fuck, that was awesome. And I go, huh, that was pretty cool. I like basketball. That felt good. And then I go play basketball again. I probably don't succeed because that first incident may have largely been just random luck. But that second time I play, I probably struggle. I probably don't do as well as the first time, but I have a whole bunch of positive momentum from that first experience that pushes me forward to try to drive and to succeed. And then when I do succeed, bam, I get another kick of positive reinforcement. Whoa, man, dude, you've been playing for a month? Holy shit, you're so good for someone who's played for a month. Oh, good positive feelings. Yeah, I'm going to keep going, keep pushing through. And one of the valuable things that I took from this, and it might be because I fetishize agony, one of the valuable things I took from this is that if I want to become good at something, I need to obsess over it and devote shitloads of time to it. And if there is a long period where I am suffering, I'm getting no positive external reinforcement because I work from home and don't see a lot of other people. If I'm getting no positive self-reinforcement because after a month I'm still confused, the good news is, if I just wait through all the agony eventually I will actually have competency and passion about something new. The most notable recent example is machine learning and neural network stuff. I had just heard about machine learning and heard about neural net stuff at the end of 2017, early 2018, and I just didn't really get it. I don't really get how it worked. I was sort of interested, and I just like dove headfirst into it. Started like building projects with it, got AWS servers set up with Eric to like do parallel experiments, fiddle with things, talk to machine learning researchers and stuff. And it didn't really have a purpose at the end other than I just wanted to learn it. So it's not like I was being instructed to do this with an incentive of, you know, Sean, if you do this, the company will award you $100,000 or some nonsense. I just pursued it, and it was agony for months. It was horrible. It was just fucking horrible. Nothing makes any sense. All machine learning researchers seem to say to each other is, that should work. That's all they ever say to each other. Huh, that's weird. It didn't work. Hey, let it run longer. That's fine. I was like, what the fuck is this field? And then things start to click and things start to make sense. And over time, I'm like, oh, okay, holy shit. Okay, so that's it. Schedule, focus on output, ignore a lot of those emotions, judge your work as external from you, and be willing to accept long periods of agony, or perhaps a more reasonable thing would be set up environments where you can get positive reinforcement for your work to help give you the motivation to keep going. All right, holy shit, we've answered one question. We've answered one. I love how Day 9 takes 5 minutes of content and stretches it to 2 hours. The Day 9 Daily. We did one. Fuck, we did one. We answered one. E Viking says movie/game of the decade. Ooh, shit. I think I gotta go with Dark Souls. I think Dark Souls is my game of the decade, probably. I think it's game of the decade. Or Stardew Valley. And of course, as you've heard me say before, multiplayer games don't count because they're not games, they're lifestyle choices. Elric Melnybone says, now that you mentioned machine learning, answer mine next. I'm going to be honest with you, Elric. You probably pasted it earlier on. I didn't even see it because I was gazing into your eyes. Ooh. So just repaste it. Just repaste it. That'd be great. Edorin says, hope this is all right, but Day 9, if anyone was ever near your area and wanted to take you out for a drink and chill for like an hour, would that be something you'd be okay with? Yeah, no, I do that with some regularity. Just ping me. Probably once a month. Someone's in town. Go out, hang out. Hi. I love you so much. Here. There's a lot of scents in there. It should smell like mint toothpaste and coffee. All right. Elric Meldabone says, Dana, I remember you talking some time ago about machine learning and neural networks, if I recall correctly. You do. And whoops, my chat window scrolled past. I actually have an assignment to do on ML using neural networks for my MSc, which I assume is Masters in the letter C. But our lessons are pretty terrible because it's university internal problems leading to a course being taught by 3 different professors. Anyway, I wanted to ask you if you have any suggestions on books or online courses to get me started. It depends quite a bit on the density and thickness which you're looking for, because I mean, like, okay, so the weird thing about neural networks is neural nets they're just an architecture. It's an architecture of taking in data, fiddling with it in some way, and then outputting different data. And then there is the learning algorithms that sort of surround that neural network architecture to update it in different ways. And these are your different categories of the learning. But a lot of the machine learning courses that you'll look at don't really focus heavily on neural networks. They'll focus a lot more on foundational things, like a let me just really simplify this for the sake of all you fine folk here. The whole idea of neural networks that really tickles the pickle of researchers out there is they seem very good at tackling these seemingly unsolvable problems. So, for instance, how do you succeed at the game of Go? You could compute all the possibilities of Go and then just trace every situation to the path to victory. But there's just not enough compute power for that, period. And there probably never will be. If you wanted to compute all the possible victory paths for tic-tac-toe, you can fucking do that. So a lot of introductory machine learning is, let us take the game of tic-tac-toe, which we as human beings could solve by hand, and let's apply a learning algorithm to a brain, a machine brain, so it learns how to succeed at tic-tac-toe. Why would I do this? Because I can look at what's learned and verify by hand that it has learned the correct thing. So a lot of times in early, in all the machine learning courses I've taken, like the first 8 to 10 weeks are just learning about, and here's how Monte Carlo tree search works, and here's how we're going to create a very simple reward function for this, and blah, 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 blah. So I don't actually know if this is the level at which you're hunting for, because a lot of CS courses will have like veer into machine learning for a semester and then come back. I mean, the way that I did it is I just did grinding. I would alternate between reading an essay, like watching a video, or not an essay, a research paper, watching a video on YouTube, going and taking some courses, stopping and thinking, rereading the paper, rewatching the video, rewatching the courses, fiddling a little bit more, and just kind of loop. And I went back and watched the same shit again and again and again until it like really clicked. Yeah. Because Ilua actually asked a question I think is like really relevant to this. Jesus, look at the circles under my eyes. What the hell? I look exhausted. I mean, I woke up at 12:30 after sleeping for like 10 hours. My God, I look horrible. Ilua says, what if you have the incorrect approach? Wrong resources, books, courses. How do you filter out correct/good ML resources over time for yourself? Okay, I have been thinking about this topic a lot. I think about this quietly all the fucking time, okay? I think about this a shitload. And I'm going to boil it down to one phrase that I love so much. You are allowed to think. I remember, you ever been in one of those conversations? I mean, I was the perpetrator of this at this time, where someone was like, listen, if we're in this category, we should do this thing. If we're in that category, we should do that thing. And I was like, well, where do you draw the line? Anytime someone says, where do you draw the line, they fucked up. That's never a useful question to say, okay? And I'll come back to that in a moment. But I said, where do you draw the line? And this person who was talking said, well, if you're asking, are we allowed to think? Yes, we're allowed to think. And I was like, okay, because it's so easy to just watch those internet arguments. It's like, well, here's how I parse this word in this way. And so it's like, well, here's the exception to that. And it's just like, dude, guys, just shut up. You're allowed to think. If you feel like it applies to neither category, that's okay, right? Then we're not trying to create a damn fucking rule book around this. We're trying to share concepts for abstract things. And there's this thing that happens a lot where someone's like, well, what if I learn the wrong thing? I feel like the idea of scientific skepticism has been a little muddied and lost in recent years as people have had access to social media and Twitter, and they argue and they use JPEGs. It's a fact if it has a picture of a man looking stern into a camera with garish letters underneath it. The whole idea of skepticism is that as you're reading this material, you go, okay, I accept that I'm being told something. Cool. I'm reading it. This could be useless. This could not be. I don't have the ability to evaluate that, and that's okay. I'll just keep learning until I have a much better sense of what's going on. And then I will retroactively be able to say, oh, wow, yeah, here's the things I was learning, and I actually think that all of these suck, and these are my thoughts now. And you can share those thoughts, and if the person who you're speaking to is also a reasonable human being who applies the scientific idea of doubt, they will go, oh, okay, so Sean said that these things were bad and these things were good. Let me still read the bad stuff. Actually, I think this had more merit than Sean was giving it credit for, and that's fine. Like, it's actually totally okay. You're totally allowed to think. You can be told wrong information, learn your way out of it, and you don't have to get mad at where the wrong information came from. The person is stupid and they sucked and they were wrong and bad and I don't know why they wrote that. You know why they wrote that? Probably because they were just at home one day reading about the topic and they said, ooh, I think this is how it works, and they had fun typing a thing up and fired it off to the internet. Totally innocent. You know what? I share thoughts all the time on this channel, and I'm wrong all the fucking time. All the fucking time I'm wrong. I don't know it a lot of the time, but I'm sure some of you who are at home watching, you're just like, what the fuck is Sean talking about? Oh, here's a great example of a way in which I was wrong. There was a card called Once Upon a Time in Magic the Gathering that had one of the fastest bans in the history of Magic because it was so powerful. And to this day, I still don't quite have a good feel for why it's strong. I remember looking at it being like, yeah, this card sucks. And I remember like playing, and every time I'd go to sideboarding, I'd be like, all right, let's take out these 4 Once Upon a Times. Yeah, this is a good play. Let me get these ones out of here. And I know there are good Magic players watching who are just like, this guy's such a fucking newbie. But I'm sitting there just going, I'm totally fucking right. Totally. I have a good feel. And after I sideboarded out those Once Upon a Times, my win rate would go up because clearly I was playing this card wrong. Guess what? It got banned, and all these pros started to talk about, oh, thank God it was banned, it was so busted, and it gave me the ability to go, well, I guess I misevaluated that. Not, I'm such a fucking piece of shit, I don't know how Magic works, I suck, I have to stop streaming because I have no credibility, right? I was just wrong about a thing, and it's fine. The things at which I am the best are the things, at which I have been the most wrong. How do the prepositions work in this sentence? This sentence got away from me. The things at which I am the best are also the things about which I have been the most wrong, the most frequently. There we go. Jesus. Oh, whoo, that was hard. That sentence was an achievement. No wonder I have these big circles under my eye. I had a big sentence coming today. Blacklands Paragon is still a bad card, right? Absolutely it is. It's horrible. Landinator 44 says, do you have any suggestions on how to read research papers? I am currently studying geology and I am constantly required to read research papers, but I feel like it is taking a brick to my head every time I start another one. Yes. Let me tell you the principles of reading research papers, okay? Okay, first of all, the way that you're supposed to read research papers, okay? Here's a book. Here's a book. Do-do-do-do. Here's a book page. Bam! Okay? Here's a research paper page. Bam! Okay, so watch this. Book. Here's your regular book. And here's your reverse polarity. This is a research paper. So if you're reading a book, normally you'll just kind of just like, just read across like this. You know, you'll do, and you just blast through it. It's no problem. You go through a page a minute. Research papers, in my experience, you have to just like, read just this paragraph and then stop. And then you have to go, what the fuck is this about? And don't go any farther forward until you know what this is. Until you know what this is. First advice I'm going to give to you is slow the fuck down. I read a page every half hour with research papers sometimes, okay? So that's the first thing. Second thing, you need to understand the perspective of people who are writing research papers. Shut up, Hades. Hades is the game we're playing today. Anyways, research papers are dog shit. Let's talk about it. Yeah, so, like, you have to understand the perspective of someone who's writing a research paper. Many of the research papers I have written in my life, I have not been excited to write. It's been, I've just been, oh, Jesus, and I try to write through, oh my God. A lot of people who are writing research papers have really niche understanding about a topic that 7 people get. And as a result, some of these paragraphs, like here, this paragraph, is actually one semester's worth of information that has been crudely mashed into 180 characters. I mean, some of these are all, I mean, they'll just say something like, Introduction. As you know, calculus is the study of rates of change, and the derivative has become an instrumental tool in determining all variety of manner of problems in engineering, sociology, and biology. Now, if you have never learned about what calculus is, if you've never taken a derivative or done an integral or any of that shit, it's basically just going, a field exists. Thank you. And then they'll just also say something like, by the result of theorem X, which is the theorem that is so substantial and dense and important that it itself, just that theorem, is a semester class in college. I mean, it's... Fuck, I gotta mute this game, man. It keeps scaring me. Yeah, so when you're reading research papers, a lot of what I'm saying is that people who write research papers often suck at writing research papers. They sometimes just completely, totally blow. This is a part of the reason why YouTube essays have become very, very popular, because there's maybe in the video essay 3 useful tidbits of knowledge, plus 30 more minutes of more or less base level introductory knowledge. Well, guess what? To someone who is not an expert on the topic like me, all that introductory stuff is fresh, new, useful insight that when it's presented to me in layers, finally building to the nugget at the 20-minute mark, I'm like, oh my God, this is great. Oh, I found the crazy little nugget. I love that nugget, you know. Research papers are sort of the opposite, where they just blast through all the introductory stuff and then hit you with so much density it's hell. So I sort of appreciate and respect what research papers are, but also generally strongly distrust the writing capabilities of whomever's writing them because, well, I shouldn't say distrust the writing capabilities. I distrust the writing intent of the paper. Many of these papers are submitted to extremely technical journals. You happen to be reading them without being a regular reader of said technical journal, and therefore not being a regular understander of that core information. So when I read research papers, I read slowly. I try to think about who the person is that's writing it, what they were writing it for, and probably what's missing. I take a lot of fucking notes. I try to talk to myself. I try to basically take the research paper here and write my summary here. And I mean, I think this is what this means. And a lot of times I read it like it's foreign language text, where I'm like, I don't know what that word is. Stop. Let me open it up. Let me look it up. Okay, so let me try to reframe that sentence using language that Sean Plott gets. Cool, got it. That's it. That's it. So just accept that it's hell on earth, man. It's fucking terrible. Oh, there was someone who said, Day 9, don't ignore me. And I was probably ignoring you, man. I apologize for that, man. I'm such a piece of shit. Oh, yeah, it was Chalk Sticks, man. What is it, Chalk Sticks? Oh, my God. Dawn of Wars 762 just gifted 30 subs this Merry Christmas. And was that Surprise MF just gifted 12 subs? Dawn of War says, happy holidays to everyone. Cheers. Happy holidays to you. A coffee cheers to you. I really got to eat something that isn't fatty and shitty for me for dinner because, like, my stomach, I can feel how upset my tummy is. Maybe I'll just skip food today. I have too much food lately. Puh. Excellent. Extra Mask 777. Are there any genres that you have a hard time getting into? For me, it's really dense RPGs. I don't have the patience to get into the crazy mechanics, but I generally love the stories. Yes. I'm right there with you. I think the ones that I have the most trouble getting into are the AAA games that I will almost describe as, it's like, the game, right? It's just like the general aroma of a game with no gameplay, unbelievable graphics that tugboats me through a linear experience. You know what I mean? Oh my God, I get so sick of these AAA games that are just like, all right, Commander, only you can save the world. Now quickly, get to battle. And I just stand there, and all my allies are blowing everything up, and I'm like, Oh yeah, look at this. Yeah. Yeah, nothing to do. All right. Yeah, it's good. It's all right. Feels so good. I like gameplay. I like being able to fiddle and do shit. This is why I like roguelikes. I like a lot of indie games. Frankly, a lot of RPGs that just give me a lot of choice of mechanics and things to fiddle with and mess with are just satisfying. Big, dense RPGs is another one of mine that I really struggle to get into. Like The Witcher 3, I don't even fucking want to play it. It's just too much. It's too big for me. It's too big. I even tried to get into it, and the tutorial was like 90 minutes long that ended in a cutscene, and then it was like, surprise, the game's beginning, and I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, when am I going to get to play some games, man? And of course, if I was 10 hours in, I'd be like, this game is amazing. It's the most incredible game ever. I like Stardew Valley style, where right from the get-go, it's like, interact with that tree. Shit. Let me pick it up. So yeah, that's sort of where I'm at. What about the coming MTG MMO? I just don't have a lot of opinions, thoughts, reactions, emotions about games that haven't been released yet, because there have been so many games that have just been like, guess what? You should buy me. I'm going to be really exciting. Oh. Get charged, ye phone. Are you charging? And then they come out and it's just like 0 out of 10. Well, all right, Jesus. Okay. I don't know. I'm feeling kind of burnt out. Feeling kind of burnt out on everything. I just like trying to get into something new. It just feels so hard to me. I'm probably going to play some Stardew Valley over break, man. What time is it? 2:15? Yeah, we'll probably chat for another 30, 45, and then we'll dippity drip drop straight on in. What's a meaty question? What is some meaty question? I want a meteor question. Think of your best questions. I'm gonna get water. Man, my stomach is so upset. Jesus. Where did his legs go? Oh, Sakharov SR says, can I ask you about a situation I am in with a girl? Yes. And I hope it's a romantic situation because, like, let's say you're trapped in a sinking bus that just crashed off a bridge and there happens to be a girl next to you who's like, quickly, call for help. And you're like, don't worry, I've got this. Go to Twitch. Day 9, can I ask you a question about a situation I'm in with a girl? Because if that's the situation you're in, then... just kick hard with your legs, I think. Kick hard with your legs. Kick hard with your eggy leggies. You went to the wrong stream. Alright. Sakharov SR types, ha ha ha. Okay. I'm waiting. We're waiting. We're going to wait patiently. Dithanos has a great question. Mr. Merc has a great question about RNNs we're going to get to. But we have to see what's going to happen with Sakharov. You know, I'll answer this one briefly from Mr. Merc, because I don't think there's terrifically much to say about it. Mr. Merc says, I asked this earlier, I don't know if you saw, but what do you think about the future of RNNs for gaming, especially in terms of non-human agents in competitive game queues? Now, if we treat this as a research paper, what is an agent? An agent is an AI, right? So, for instance, if you have an agent that plays Dota, that is the brain that instructs the little bots what to do and where to move. That's your agent. Ooh. An RNN is known as a recurrent neural network. What's a neural network? A neural network it's just a structure. It's just a structure of take in some information, fiddle with it in this particular way, and output the information. This thing that I've described, that's the neural network. A recurrent neural network does a change, which is that whatever we output out here gets fed back in as an input the next time we use our little brain. So for instance, if we are playing StarCraft, I do an action right now. I'm the computer. I observe everything. Here's all the inputs into my neural network. This is all my observations. Do some thinking. Boom, here's the action I take. That's what happens now. And then next time we take an action, we go, what was the last action I took? Okay, that's useful information, what the last action I took is. Plus all the observations of what's happening right now. Thinking. Boom, here's the next action. In other words, the recurrent is the information coming back. It continues to recur, continues to get fed back in. Plus some other bells and whistles, but that's the gist of it, is the old information keeps coming back in. And this type of structure, we ask ourselves, what is this type of structure useful for? It's useful for anything that happens in a sequence. So for instance, a sentence, what should the next word in the sentence be? Well, it depends on what the previous word in the sentence was. Something like StarCraft. What's the action I'm going to take now? Well, it depends on the previous actions that I've taken. If I want to try to go mech, it would be a lot better if I had built lots of factories in the past. Things like this. This is different from, look at a picture. Is there a dog in this picture? If so, where is it? Okay, let's look at the next picture. Like the next picture we see has nothing to do with the previous picture we saw. They don't matter. If it's video, all of a sudden the video frames happen sequentially. So the idea of recurrence is important. So basically, if you're doing anything at all in a game period and you want to have an agent in that space, you're going to use a recurrent neural network a pretty substantial percentage of the time. Because my little agent needs to know what it's been up to in the past to determine what to do next. And the thing that's interesting, and we can actually simplify the question to be, how do you think that machine learning is going to be useful in multiplayer games? I think that the thing that's really, really, really appealing to me is AIs in games that instead of learning how to be the best ever at something like StarCraft, instead of trying to learn to be the best StarCraft bot possible, it instead learns how to play like a Gold League player. Instead of playing against itself and trying to maximize the probability of winning, and that's how it adjusts its brain, instead the neural network looks at replays of Gold League players and tries to do actions that are as similar to Gold League actions as possible. And then what do you get? What do you poop out? You poop out Goldbot, your gold agent. And then if I'm a silver level player and I want to challenge myself, but I want to challenge myself not against some pre-programmed AI the programmer wrote, but instead I want to be playing against how actual Gold League players are playing. Well, shit, that would be really cool to be able to play against the Gold bot. Or maybe if you wanted to play against the Serral bot that plays exactly like Serral because it learned to mimic that. That would be really, really, really cool. That I think is the big thing. And I think that there's probably going to be some sort of psychological incentive. Where, I know that matchmaking is designed to give people a 50-50 win rate, but I think psychologically that feels fucking horrible for most people. Most people really want to win a good percentage of the time, and when they lose, they want to feel like they almost won, stuff like that. Like if you actually just get mauled like in StarCraft, if you have a 45% loss rate in StarCraft, you're winning 55% of your games. And it can feel horrible because losing in StarCraft is disproportionately demoralizing. So I think that it could be really cool where if you're on a losing streak, instead of pairing you against another human who is equal to your skill level, thereby giving you a 50-50 chance, assuming that all other things being equal. Instead, it just pairs you against a low-rated but still reasonable playing AI. So this way, all players can have above a 50% win rate. Players can be around 60% win rate because they're playing against a bot 20% of the time that is designed for them to be able to beat. And I feel like there's some issues with that because a lot of times people play games against other people for the thrill and the rush, and if they're playing against a computer AI, that could suck. However, I personally, when I was peak Brood War nerd, I would do lots of periods of time where I would dip into training modes, training bots, and just bang out practice against very specific things, improve at very specific thingies, specific mechanics, macro, unit micro, like Mutalisk micro in certain situations until I felt good enough. And then I would go back and I would play against people. And if I was still losing, I'd sometimes create a new account so I could, frankly, just newbie bash and work out some kinks in my gameplay against players that showed their vulnerabilities a little bit more clearly. All right. So that's what I think. I think that it's going to be really compelling and really interesting to do that. I am more so interested in people taking neural networks. I have no audio. I don't even know why I need this. I'm more interested in people taking neural networks and trying to create interesting components, like if there was an MMO and there was a dragon that behaved in a dragon-like way because it was trained as a dragon as opposed to programmed as a dragon. That's the sort of thing that's fascinating to me. All right, give me the lady question. Sakharov SR. Let's do it. Keton 626 sensation a few days ago. I subbed to celebrate earning my PhD. Woo! Today I cheer with you to celebrate my new job. Just accept position at the Army Research Lab working on next-gen defense materials. Wish me luck. Much love. Man, congratulations. It's like super sick. All right, Sakharov says, 2 years ago, I took a girl out for her birthday. And she admitted some feelings for me that day. A friend of 10 or so years today. We talked about it, and she was afraid for our friendship and then found a boyfriend a month later. Stopped talking to me for 2 years, and slowly we've been getting back together as friends. A couple weeks ago, she comes over, and we drink and have fun, play games. Then close to the end of the night, she gets into my bed and cuddles me. Oh, shit. We hold hands and other intimate, comfortable things. She still has the same boyfriend. I refuse to make any moves further because of this fact. What are your thoughts? There's a lot more backstory, but this is just what happened. Oh, she has the boyfriend? Oh, my God, yeah. Yeah, let me tell you something. Let me tell you, I am real no-nonsense about this shit now. I would be unbelievably plain. Not blunt. Blunt implies that you're an asshole, right? But I would just speak plainly. And I would also behave plainly, okay? These things can become a fucking mess. And in my experience, you know what is the biggest mess of all? When you're in limbo and you don't know. No expectations and clarity's there. Were I in your shoes, I would just say straight up, hey, I want to let you know something. I'm a little uncomfortable with the situation that we're in, where you're doing things that feel kind of physical and intimate with me. You still have a boyfriend. Does she still have feelings? Did you say she still has feelings? Yeah, Or you could just say, like, and I know you told me that you had feelings for me previously. I almost have this question, Sakharov. Let me ask a question before I go on any further. Was there a reason that you guys are not together? Because she admitted feelings for you, and then I didn't hear anything from your perspective. Because if you're totally platonic with this person, you have no interest in dating her, just be like, hey, I want to let you know, here are my boundaries that I'm not comfortable with. So I'm just gonna, until you respond, I'm gonna work on the assumption that you do have some feelings, maybe some interest here, and you're trying to figure out what to do. But yeah, no, I would just be like, hey, I want to let you know, oh, you have interest for sure? Oh, okay, yeah, all right. I would just straight up say, hey, I'm really not comfortable doing anything physical with you if you're still with your boyfriend. Like, I have feelings for you. it's irrelevant to me if you have feelings for me. I'm just not comfortable doing any of this stuff if you're with the other guy. And then I would spend some time thinking about what it is that makes you uncomfortable. Things that have happened, or maybe even things that have not happened. Like, hey, maybe she is sharing a lot of private information about what's happening in her relationship with said guy. And you go, what, I'm just not even really comfortable hearing about that, so I'd appreciate not... I appreciate you not doing that. Whatever boundary you're not cool with. Just set the boundary and stick to it. I mean, I feel like this is something that happens to everyone once. Yeah, I mean, just set it. Take control of the situation and set the boundaries. Don't try to figure out what she is doing, what she's interested in, what she's going to do. Just set your boundaries, plain and clear as day. I think everyone's been in this situation where you're interested in someone who's with someone else, and so you don't really make any decisions or any commitments. You're just like, okay, I'm kind of interested in you, but keep the distance. And I honestly think but what about our friendship? All friendships are always going to be fine if either person in the friendship wants it to be okay, it'll be okay. I know there's a lot of people that are just like, man, fuck, I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? What was I saying? Oh yeah, I think there's a lot of people that are like, oh no, I really care about the friendship. The friendship's really important to me. And they're lying to themselves because they still just have a huge crush and are keeping their fingers crossed and all this stuff. You know what I mean? Really, really straight up. Be plain and clear as day. I mean, frankly, just be like, hey, we really can't be intimate if you're with a boyfriend, period. That's it. That's all there is to it. Because again, the important thing is that you think about and speak from your point of view and what you're comfortable with and what's going on with there. Because I know people who are just like, oh my God, she's being a horrible person to that other guy. Oh my God. Well, the other guy might actually be totally okay and their relationship might be totally fine. There are a huge percentage of people that would be upset, but that guy might not. And I think that, when I was younger, I used to do this a lot. I used to be like, oh my gosh, she's just being a horrible person. I bet that guy's totally pissed off at her. When I got older, the number of people that were totally not upset were totally comfortable. Yeah, no, I didn't want her to do it. And I was upset. So we talked about it and it's fine now. And there it is. Hey, CN Duchess, cool it a bit, please. Please. I can feel the heat in chat from here. I can feel it. But yeah, no, I would definitely, Sakharov, just be super plain, super clear. You can address this in a day, and the emotions, sadness, the stress, the pain, will probably last and linger and all that sort of stuff. That can last for a while, and that's fine. That's totally okay. But just handle it, man. Take care of it. God, I remember there was this girl that I was interested in for a year, man. I was really interested in her for legitimately a year. She was with a guy, and I don't know, and I don't want to hang out with her. And hey, are you doing something? That's me, and it would feel kind of exciting because it was secret and bad and all this shit, Yeah, you can't ever figure out with Jesus. These sentences are horrible today. You can't ever really know or have a good sense of what another person is feeling internally. So the good news is you don't have to. You just have to be able to take control. All right. All right. It's 2:30. We're going to chat here for another 20 or so minutes and stuff like that. Do 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 do. Let's see here. Walls of Dogs, it's a dumb question. What color is your mug? It became transparent. Let me show it to you, man. Here it is. It's kind of green. It's kind of like a dark green. It's got little speckles on it. See, and Duchess says, don't think I was out of line, but okay. When you type the phrase, couldn't disagree more, that's the kind of phrase that comes across as escalating. You know? Because if you disagree, you can say, here's where I disagree, and sort of share your perspective. What are your thoughts? You know, you can sort of make it a communication. But when you say, couldn't disagree more, and that's like the full statement, it's... And by the way, things get misinterpreted in text form all the time. All the time. You could have just been happily, pleasantly typing to your computer in a totally great mood and said those things, and we just didn't see the tone or attitude you had behind it. That could totally be the case. But as someone who's just sitting here looking over and like glancing and sees that phrase, couldn't disagree more. C and Duchess says, no, you were right. I was getting heated. And I totally understand. Let me say, I completely understand. I was being a little bit like, hey, cool it. I was being a little brash with how I said it, because I was trying to like keep the sort of general like cheery, chummy attitude of the stream going. That's what I didn't mean to necessarily try to dunk on you if you felt dunked upon, but I do understand how when talking about things, especially like what could be infidelity or impropriety in a relationship, a lot of people have been burned in a ton of different situations. And if you're watching someone be like, oh, yeah, that thing that person did, yeah, that shit happens. And that's totally, you know, it happens. It's like normal. And you're like, well, that happened to me and it felt like shit. Yeah, I mean, there are totally understandable reasons for it to happen. So, well, my apologies if you felt as though I was like trying to fucking dunk on you. Just like, oh, you're trying to talk in my chat, grab me by the hair, shove me in the bathroom, like, you need to cool it. Yeah. Yeah, says Sean dunks on chat all the time. We are so dunkable. Yeah, fuck you people and your support for me. You guys help make my career possible, you bastards. Hey, Chickenators. Good to see you, man. How are you? E. Viking says, if you were to write an autobiography, what would the title be? It would be Whoopsie Doopsie. All right. What's a weird question? Give me your weird cues. Oh, how screws if you have to get an exotic pet of some sort, at least not a dog or a cat, what would it be? Oh my god, my dude, I would get a parrot. I love birds. I grew up with two parakeets. And I love little birds. I love little birds. Birds. Birds are awesome. I'm a regular subscriber to /r/party parrot. I love those birds. There's this one of this bird jumping around. That's just going. I can't get parrots because they actually just need so much attention. Waffles the dog with the 20 gifted subs on this fine Friday. Oh my god, it's Friday. Oh my god, it's Friday. It's Friday. Oh my god, it's Friday. Holy shit, you know what I'm going to do tonight? Because I sure don't. Maybe I'll keep watching The Watchmen. Ooh, Edorin16 says, what's the weirdest phobia you have? Tornadoes. Oh my god, tornadoes freak me out. Oh my god. Now you might be like, why tornadoes? I grew up in Kansas, man, and when the tornado sirens go off, it is so scary, man. Oh my god, you have to go into your basement. I'm like clinging onto the pole. Oh, the tornado take me away. Oh. I mean, just the idea of like this thing just coming down from the sky and just plucking you up out, and then you're just being taken around, just like in Outer Wilds. Yeah, no, I had to stop playing that game because there's tornadoes, man. Holy shit. Oh my god, dude, okay. You know what's interesting? When the weather is prime for tornadoes to be in the air, did you know the sky turns green? Did you know the sky turns green? Do you guys know what I'm talking about with this? Google Chrome, green sky, tornado. Oh, these are all photoshopped, man. Yeah, and I think it's not specifically tornado related. I think it's just like there's some weather thing going on that's bending the light and all that shit. But like, man, dude, oh guys, tornadoes freak me out. Yeah, like I still remember a day when I went outside and the sky was like so green. Or specifically, the clouds are green. Like the blue sky part doesn't turn green, but like Jesus, it's just like. It's freaky, it's weird, it's odd, it's bad. I don't like it. Oh. Man. Maker says, thanks for being such a positive, joyful person. It's hard to find one on Twitch anymore. Is that true? I appreciate that, Makers, but like I don't watch enough people on Twitch, but I like sort of hear these murmurings about the generalized misery. Hello. Hello, I'm gonna kiss you. Oh. Oh. Hello. Hello. I'm sure there's a lot of cheery people. Yeah, come on. Come join me in the lap. It's nice this time of year. There you go. Goodbye. That was nice. Yeah, I do see that there's a lot of people who stream who are just not having a good time. And I understand it. I really do. I really, really understand it. I'm an unusually emotionally panky person. Hello. Are you on the mouse pad? Oh, we're purring now. Yeah, here. Check out the ear. Oh, we have the rare Despy meow. Oh, so good. Or not the rare Despy meow, the rare Despy purr. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stress that comes with streaming that's very weird. That's very, very, very unusual. It's just incredibly high intensity. It's incredibly, incredibly high intensity. When most people play video games, it is a low intensity activity, so they take that low intensity experience and assume that when you're streaming it is that same low intensity experience. It is rough. Oh, here's a great question from Dithanos. Excuse me, Desper. I'm going to have to work around you to scroll up. Dithanos says, I've been working on a really challenging, to me, skill for a long time in a focused, disciplined manner. I've been making slow to no progress in this skill, and it feels completely embarrassing how terrible I am compared to how much time I've poured in. I don't really accept that I just don't have the aptitude for this thing, but it seems increasingly likely as time goes on. Do you have any experience with/advice for pushing past a barrier like this? Yeah, man. I actually had a friend in... God, you're so cute. Oh, shit. I love my kitty so much. Oh, hold on, Dithanas. Your question is so important to me, but I have a little gray cat who has a head that needs scratching. And watch this. She's going to meow. Check this out. Dispy. Oh my god, that's so cute. That is such a cute meow. Do you hear that shit? Oh, Dithanas, this is how you're going to push past all your problems. It's just a little kitty meow. Oh, I sure sound a little bit demeaning, but I'm sorry, Dithanas. I promise I'm going to answer your question, but we got one more meow from Dispy. That's right. You're doing a good job being a cat. You're just so happy. You're just so sweet. All right, I'm going to get you right. There's the spot right there. Oh. Do you want to rub against the hand? Do you wanna collapse upon the mouse? Dispy. Yeah, we're having a good time. And we're flopping on the table. Yeah, okay. We got tummy rubs going on. We're gonna get the head and the tummy at the same time. We get head and tummy at the same time. Despy wants to play Hades. Well, so does Day 9, but he's just gonna take a little bit of time. Hey, Despy. Yeah, you having a good time over there? Well, you're flicking your tail a lot. There's a lot of energy in you. Here's my hand. We always have to be careful when there's this much energy in the cat. Hey. Oh, you want to be... Ow. You're not allowed to bite, Dad. Holy crap. This cat is really happy. Okay. I know I got to go back and I got to do the show. Is that okay? You're flicking that tail like crazy on the keyboard, huh? All right. I love you. God, I fucking love this cat. Dispy. See, that's so great. I say her name right to her face and she meows. What about if I was like, pizza? Nothing. But let me see if I say her name again. Dispy. She's just done meowing, I think. She's just not in a performative mood. Okay, I'm going to go back and do the show. All right. Okay. Once upon a time in college, I knew someone who so badly wanted to be a math PhD, and she was not your 4.0 A student. And she also wasn't the type of student who was like fantasizing about being great, but then not putting in the effort. I mean, she would work really, 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 really hard and get like C's. Harvey Mudd is a notoriously difficult college. I think there's only 10 4.0s in the history of the school. But I mean, she worked really, really, really hard. And she would like go to office hours and be buddy-buddy with the professors and like try to study as much as possible. But like it just took huge amounts of time to hit those like evaluations compared to what you'd usually imagine. Like, oh, a straight A student who finishes their assignments in 2 hours, that sort of thing. But she went to a university, got a master's in math, got a PhD in math, and is now doing like super, super, super crazy high level math research work. And she just brute forced it, basically. And I have real admiration for that. Also, Jaedong, my all-time favorite Zerg player in Brood War, famously has said that he is a stupid player. He has no idea how to analyze or think strategically about the game, but he just works harder than everyone else. And that's how he's able to stay good. And you watch his stream, and he's like on these like 14-game losing streaks, losing to the same player, doing the same thing every game. And he's like, just like, ah! And he just like keeps playing. He's like totally okay with it. I think that so those are just some examples I have offhand of people that have just continued to brute force their way through and been successful. But let's say you are plateauing, you are having a difficult time with said activity. I am a big fan. Dispy. I know I'm gonna have to move you. Is that okay? You know what? It's not okay. We're gonna hold off on that. I need to move my mouse, but whatever. I find that switching things up within the same activity can be a really refreshing way to loosen up what feels like some tense muscles in the brain. So, like take StarCraft, right? Which is like my perennial example. In StarCraft, a lot of times I'd be doing some really standard ass build over and over and over and over and over and over again, trying to really rework, refine, perfect it and stuff like this. And sometimes it would just feel like, God, there's this one thing, it feels so strong and it's just so difficult to deal with. And I would continue to brute force work on that for a while, and then I'd just be like, all right, you know what? Fuck it, man. I'm going to spend 2 days doing a bunch of stupid bullshit. And I would get these pathetic losses and these hilarious wins that it would loosen my brain a little bit in that I didn't feel like I was trying to push so hard. I mean, sometimes you feel like you're Sisyphus just jamming your rock up the mountain, and your bones are just tired. And all of a sudden, it just felt like I was just messing around, like kind of having fun, and the stakes felt lower. But like, I'm still doing the same thing. It's not like I was brute forcing this standard play and then I stopped and I went bowling or some other completely different activity. I'm doing the same activity, but just different. Or I would play games on Big Game Hunters, the infinite money mode in StarCraft, and just like have fun and mess around. And I feel like that sort of structured variety can be very, very valuable. I have some friends that are like disgustingly in shape. You know what I'm talking about? One of those people that are just like, oh, no, I've eaten enough and I'm done. Like, that's never happened to me before. I keep eating until there's no more food. Like, that's how I eat, right? They just eat half the thing. They're like, that was really good. Oh, no, I'm not going to take it home. I'm just done with this food. I'm like, the sacrificed value. Like, my brain's broken in this regard for sure. But, they will sometimes hit plateaus in their physical training, and they'll just do different things. Like, okay, well, I'm just going to go rock climb for a little bit. I'm just going to switch it up, do another sort of different physical activity. So, I always like this idea of sort of just sidestepping and doing the sort of fun thing. Losing in Dota, play some turbos, man. Ooh. Valero RVA says, I've got a very specific question related to dating and responsibility to family. Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear that question, Valero RVA, while I pet my cat. Surprise, it's Dad. Yeah. Are you going to bite me? You going to chew on me? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you okay? Okay, like this is how, when my cat sounds irritated, I like do this and just make sure that she wants to. Is that okay? Hey, you're not allowed to chew on me, okay? She's pretty worked up, huh? All right. All right. Dispy. You're so mad. You're allowed to be mad. I still love you. All right. Valera says, so I'm living in with my parents right now because, oh shit, it scrolled past and I don't have access to my mouse because my cat's on the mouse. All right, let me see if I can just keyboard this. If I shift tab and then I hit the up arrow, that's good. So I'm living in, God, can page up work? I'm living with my parents right now because they need a lot of help around the house, but it simultaneously feels constricting because it's hard to tell someone, hey, you should go out with me. But heads up, I still live with my parents, so I feel like I've sacrificed a lot of social opportunities, but my parents need me. Yeah. Okay. I feel that. When you say, they're needing help around the house and stuff like that, I wonder about living nearby and just staying late, things like this. I wonder about exploring some other options where you can still help around the house and still be there a huge percentage of the time. Also in my family, there was a situation where a family member just had a medical situation where a family member or a nurse or someone just basically had to be there 24 hours a day. So I do understand when you say like, oh yeah, it feels a little constricting. And I think that there's a couple layers to this. The first one is, let's say you are opting into this. You really want to help your parents. You really want to do that. It's something that's important to you, so you're happy about that. This is just a different struggle. There's the social struggle aspect to it. If that's the case, I think that communicating that as a mature adult to another mature adult will work out great. I think that there are some immature adults that if I said, hey, I'm living with my grandmother right now, she's having some medical issues, so I'm probably just going to be living there over the course of the next year because I really just need to be able to be close enough to take care of her, something like that. If there's someone who's just like, oh my God, so that means that you're just like around your grandma all the time? Ew. I mean, I'd be like, all right, well, I guess you're not for me. There's that layer of it, which is if you are comfortable and content with your choice, it can be frustrating and suck that there are so many people that's just, what's the word for it? That's just a no-go for them. That's just like a hard red flag. Well, then, that's unfortunate, but sometimes that's totally okay. Like, if I were on the dating scene and someone's like, oh my God, you work a lot, you need to work less, I'd be like, no. Like, no, I'm good. Deal breaker, that's the word I'm looking for. Thank you, Ampeo. Yeah, if someone's like, oh, okay, well, like, you're playing, Dota solo queue. Actually, I don't play Dota solo queue. What am I talking about? Sean, you're playing StarCraft solo on the ladder, but like instead of doing that, you could be playing games with me. I'd be like, no, like my individual activities are very important to me. Things like that. So I think that that's one aspect of it, which is you might feel uncomfortable just stating bluntly that it's important to you, but if it's important to you, I believe you. I think there is another layer to this, which is what does it mean for you to be able to have social freedom? What does that mean for you? For instance, for me, social freedom would be the ability to stay up late and play games with my Dota buddies. If my partner was like, Sean, you must be in bed by 10:30 every night, period. A lot of times I go to bed at 10:30. Not last week, but a lot of times I go to bed at 10:30. And you know what? It's great. But if I was required to do that by someone, I'd be like, I am really not okay with that, period. And so, it could be that some of your feeling and frustration around feeling socially constricted when living in your parents could be a matter of identifying things that give you the sensation of freedom. I bring up the Dota example because maybe you need to stay there with your parents, but you do want to stay up late playing Dota, and you've never thought about doing that. And it feels like a really good, joyful social experience to you. But I think the biggest thing is if you're feeling self-conscious when you're speaking to other people that this is the situation you're in, especially in our generation, people have complicated lives. People have complicated stuff going on. I have known people that have stayed in with their parents to save money who've been ashamed. I know people that have stayed with their parents to save money and been proud. They've said things like, someone's like, you live with your parents? And they're just like, oh my God, dude, it's amazing. Do you know what the average rent is around this area? It's like $2,200 a month. And I pay $0 a month. I'm just saving up all that stuff because, oh my God. It's a great deal, things like this. I've seen people be able to do that. Valero says, yeah, one parent needs constant medical attention and nurses are expensive. Yeah, they fucking are. Jesus. I've definitely had some adverse reactions to telling someone I live with them. Not very fun inviting someone over to my house when I have to come to expect that response. That's great advice, though. It's been hard to separate those two aspects of my life, so I definitely need to work on that. Yeah, no, I really feel you there. Again, I was not the one that was living in with said family member, but take pride in yourself, man. You're taking care of your family. That's wonderful. You're taking care of someone you love. That's great. And if you meet someone, you can just be like, hey, I just want to let you know this really early. I'm living with my parents because one of my parents needs constant medical attention. And, nurses are too expensive. By the way, Medicare for all, woo, but I know for some people that makes them uncomfortable. So I just wanted to be open with you about that. And just be comfortable and proud about it. I think that it's very easy when there's something that has caused adverse reactions socially. When that's happened, it's easy to be like, I'm going to be apprehensive. Things are going great, so maybe I won't talk about it this time. And it's just like this build up and build up and build up, and then you're like, I live with my parents due to medical reasons. I'm trying to take care of them. The person's like, ew. And it's just like, oh, if only I'd waited longer and not said anything, I could have kept this nice thing going. Just preempt it. Just like 3 minutes in. Just be like, hey, you want to go out for coffee sometime? Yeah, sure. Like, meet up with them for coffee. And then you're just like, hey, how are you? It's good to meet you. Hey, I want to let you know something right away. I live with my parents because of this reason. And there you go. Also, you're a hero, by the way, man. That is exhausting. That is exhausting, man. When a family member or loved one is having a medical issue that's long term, it is the weirdest mix of agony and boredom. It's just I've never heard anyone talk about the boredom aspect, where it's just like, all right, well, we've taken care of all the things that we need to at 4 p.m. We're going to do another checkup at 8 p.m. Well, let's kill some time, I guess. And then someone says a joke, and you're like, ha ha ha. Am I allowed to laugh at that? Because my father's dying. Huh. God, so fucking... That's weird, man. It's weird. It's weird. Hey. You would not believe this, but I don't have any water left. Isn't that incredible? Do you care? No? Can I pet you? There's my finger. There you go. Little gentle pets. Nothing too much, because this cat's very irritated. God, I love this cat so much. I'm going to play so much string with this cat over break. Are you the best cat in the whole world? Don't be shy. Yeah. What could you even have to be irritated by? She's just a very skittish cat. All right, Despy, check this out. This cup, it's got water in it. Isn't that insane? Oh, freaks me out too. Now, the way that I will get the cat out of here is by luring you with a string. Because you're such a gullible cat. You always. You okay? You didn't want to be pet, huh? Yeah, we talk a lot. Yes. Zor2103 says, hey, tonight I got a weird question. If you could only pick one of your kitties, which would you pick and why? I fully reject questions like this. I will do everything in my power to make sure both of my cats are immortal, okay? I would die so this cat could get 10 more minutes of string playing. Like this, I love these cats. This is insane to me. This is ridiculous. What kind of question? That's a disgusting question. I don't have to choose, and I never will choose. I mean, let me tell you, if they were like, you can either save Sheriff or save Despy, I'd be like, sacrifice me. Like, I would just, like, irrationally so. Are you going to be immortal? Hello. Oh my god. Kronos is asking, would I rather have arms for legs or legs for arms? Probably arms for legs. I just want more arms. So that way I can, like, you know, really kick ass at DDR. Plop, 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 plop. Dun, 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 dun. What are you feeling towards taxidermy? It's odd. I don't have any rational explanation for this, but the idea of stuffing a dead corpse and hanging chunks of the dead corpse on your wall and being like, That's a moose that's dead because of me. Like, I don't know. I just feel so weird. That's just odd. I mean, I don't judge it. I don't think someone's weird for doing it, because, I mean, I do all sorts of odd shit. I'm just saying I don't get it. Edorin says, I think he meant about your cats when they die. No, I would absolutely let my cats just turn back to cat dust. Thunder underscore says, hey, Day9, I just graduated my master's in computer science. I've been looking for a job since September, but have been met with nothing but rejections. Do you have any advice that would give on not letting things like this negatively affect someone? Yeah, man. First of all, general advice, if you're unemployed and you're looking to be employed, treat your application process as a job. Work from 9 to 5. Go to a coffee shop, work on your resume, send things out, take calls, submit thingies, and then once 5 rolls around, just kick it back, relax, take the night off, do something fun, do something relaxing. Maybe you stay out a little too late, stay out till 2, wake up, you're tired. Oh man, I'm going to do a bad job at work today. That's fine. Have your coffee, get showered, get to work by 9, submit applications till 5, laze it up, go to bed early. Just do it by volume. When you are applying to jobs, it does not matter if you were rejected from one job and then got a job. It doesn't matter if you were rejected 100 times and then got a job. You only need one to work. You just need one to work out. And that's it. Everything else doesn't matter. So, I mean, it just doesn't matter, man. Like, all these rejections, they just suck. They suck, and they'll make you feel, oh my God, was it something to do with me? Having been on the other side, having actually done hiring, I mean, I don't fucking know what I'm doing. I'm just like, oh, all right, this person's cover letter was dumb. I've never looked at any university that someone attended. It more or less doesn't matter to me. There are times when I'm in a hurry and I have to make evaluations, and I'm like, we can only interview 3 next week. Okay, I guess this one and this one and this one. There are times where I actually do apply much more rigor and insight and all that good stuff, but, you know. If we're talking purely about the emotional struggle of that, Thunder says, it definitely sucks. The hardest part for me is cutting it off at a certain time. It feels like it's always looming, and I just want to have a job so I can relax. Yeah, that's definitely super true. This is something that a lot of people that are self-employed, such as your pal Day9, a lot of streamers, they feel this a lot, which is that you don't make money per year in a lot of freelance positions. You make money this year, and if you're ever not looking for work, you might not have any payment coming down the pipeline. And you just have to develop a comfort with that. So I think one of the techniques to allow yourself to relax and to unwind is to have a place, a location, a set of technology associated with your job application stuff. So for instance, let's say you go to your coffee shop, and that is where you do all of your job applying things. You use the Firefox browser for your job application stuff. And then when you are done at 5, you leave the coffee shop and you only use Chrome at home. You might do something like never, ever, ever use your phone for the job application process. Period. That's it. You just don't use your phone for it. Anytime you want to do job application, you have to sit at your desktop. Or maybe you don't even use your laptop for job applications, period. You just do it on your desktop computer. Then this way, your phone and your laptop are psychologically safe. If you don't want to travel to do this, have a location in your house. Set up on an unusual location in your own home to apply for your jobs. And then when you leave that location, you're out of it. Like, really, put some structure in there. Let's play some Hades, man. Despian, I need you to move. Hey, sweetie pie. Are you not in the mood to be pet? I can tell. Let's solve this problem. Ba-da-ba-da. It's the string. It's the string. It is Despi's favorite thing. Here it is. What do you know? There it is. Ah, I have fooled you yet again, Despi. All right. Well, we got to at least play a little bit. All right. Oh, yep. Get it. Oh, yeah. It's in the box. All right. Yeah. All right. We're gonna throw it, Des. Here it is. Zoop. Ah, yes. To dupe a lesser intelligent life form. Ah.